Hey man, so I'm gonna make this quick little video for you just to kind of walk through a model that I'm having to make for myself. I won't share with you how I gathered all my dimensions and stuff because that'd take too long. But I figured having just a basic outline of how to work Onshape would probably be pretty helpful. So basically, I created a drawing called this rotary height. That's what I'm working on is for my laser rotary. Um, I had all these hidden, but this is more or less what it'll look like when you come in. You're in a part studio, so on. So yeah. So basically, what you're gonna do, real quick, is or what I like to do is I'm working in inches as well. That's another thing. So up here, I went ahead and chose inches because it'll default to millimeters, but all my I'm using calipers and stuff, so all my stuff's in inches. So I just go ahead and keep it in inches for now, anyway. That won't affect the exporting or anything. It just will affect how you put numbers in. So anyway, I'll start off with this. I'm going to create a sketch, and the first thing it wants me to do is choose a plane. Well, because just I work on isometric so much, the way this part will sit, and it's sitting in my brain anyway, is I'm going to choose the right plane to work from. Obviously, this just basically matters to the orientation of how it's going to export, but you can also fix that as well in your slicer software. So basically, so yeah, but this is just because this is how my brain orients and how I was more or less trained. So I'm going to choose the right plane, and normally it'll go to normal to that, but I'm just going to hit the end button, and that'll normal to the right plane. And so for me, I'm just going to start off with I'm just going to start drawing what I more or less I need, and go from there and explain to you what it is and why. So basically, this can be the general outside shape, and then I'm not going to worry about dimensions yet. I will, but I'm not going to this very moment. And I know what I want is I want basically another cutout that's kind of off center of the top, and so basically I can take that and I'm going to start adding some dimensions. And so this first box here, this is the most critical dimension for me. So I'm going to go ahead and put that one in at 1 inch 35 thousandths. And then the second critical dimension is this guy here for me, for my application anyway. So I've got that. All right, so I've got my two critical dimensions in there. And then now I'm going to start filling in some of these other ones that are just design decisions. And then let's go ahead and take this and grab this top guy here. So 1.37. And I know it's going to be a long video for you to watch, but you can flip through it, of course, however you want, and take it, get the different parts. But anyway, so this is a non. So this dimension here, whenever I click it, what you're going to see is you're going to see all these being bold and black, and this one not. This one's grayed. So these are what they call driven dimensions. So basically, I can drive what those are, and this is what, or sorry, not driven. What they actually have a different term for it. Maybe it is driven. Onshape has a different verbiage for it, but anyway. But basically, I can tell this dimension that I want it to be 1/4 of an inch, versus this one over here that's going to be the resultant of that of other dimensions. So I can put this one at a different dimension, and you'll see this one change, but I can't force this one to change this one, if that makes sense. So you can kind of see, well, it went really, really small. But yeah, so the point being is that I can't double click this one and make that one change a dimension. I can only change this one over here. So just a little tidbit that you've got different types of dimensions. This tool up here, this dimension tool, it's going to auto decide which one it needs. Sometimes you can be smart, or it can be too intelligent or not intelligent enough. You just kind of got to know your tools a little bit in this and make it work for you, so to speak. But yeah, so it'll auto select those. So anyway, moving on. So this is the general shape that I want, and you may not get it yet. But basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select up here, and I did that quickly. Sorry. I'm going to select extrude. So I don't have, if I'm inside the sketch, it looks like this. I'm going to select extrude, and then I'm going to select the faces that I want. It auto selected the whole sketch. I don't want that. I want just this face to extrude out, just this one. So I'm going to select this one, and then I'm going to hit right here. You see how that one corner highlighted right there? So I'm going to select there, so that puts me back in isometric view. And so now I can see that extrusion. And so I know that I want that to be a total of I'll just make it a total of 5.425. So it's going to be that. Now, I prefer things to stay symmetrical inside of the world coordinate system. There's reasons for this. Maybe not right now do I have a reason, but it can be helpful to keep that symmetrical. So if you hit that symmetrical button, then it's going to basically split it on both sides of the right plane to make that easier, or to make that dimension equally on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and hide all these planes because now I more or less I don't need them anymore. And so yeah, so we'll do that. So now I want to throw my holes in and make my hole pattern. So I'm gonna come in here, and so for me, the way that I dimensioned all of these holes that I'm going to be needing to put in, it's going to be coming from this corner back here, that part. So I'm just going to go ahead and flip over and basically orient to this face, and I'm going to do that by hitting the N button. That's going to bring that face to me front to the front. And so from here, I'll just select new sketch. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab that circular tool, and I don't care where they fall at this very moment, because I'm gonna make them go where I want. And so I'm gonna then just hit escape to get out of that tool. I'm gonna grab the line tool, and just because this software will auto put some stuff in there for you, some what they call relationships. So it'll auto put relationships in there if you don't want, even when you don't want them to. So I always come down and I always just kind of go off center to where I actually want it, because I don't want it to accidentally grab a relationship. I want it to be coincidence here. See how that's stuck there? That means, or that's showing me that it's basically coincidence to that line. So I'm going to drag it up to here, and then I'm going to grab that center point there and drag it to there. Okay, so now I've got those coincident, or all of these lines ending in a coincidence, or yeah, coincident. This guy up here. But now I want to basically use these as what they call in drafting construction lines. So if I select those lines and hit construction, so now those lines are basically just for my benefit, not necessarily going to be affected affect the drawing, so to speak. And so I'm going to put those lines in, and then I'm going to select horizontal, and that's going to basically make a horizontal relationship for all of these. So these lines now, they have no other thing in life but to be horizontal to this axis here. So that way I now know that these lines, or sorry, these circles, the center points are exactly centered to each other, because now they're on a horizontal line. It's important. So then I'm now going to take and grab those guys, and then I'm going to hit the equal button, and now they're dimensionally equal as well. So I'm going to grab that guy, and I'm going to put a dimension on one of them. I don't have to do both of them now because I made them equal. I'm going to go 1, 2, 5. That's the dimension I need. So now I have these holes dimensioned to the diameter that I want. then I can come in and I can throw in a dimension here. Let's see here. For my numbers, like some of these dimensions I already had written out. I need to double check this one real quick. I think I want to do 765, but I'll double check it real quick. No, I need it to be, let's see, 0.735 plus 0.0625. Okay, so I need that to be 0.7975. Alright, double check that with the calipers real quick before I call that good. 79. Yeah, that's correct. And then let's see here. Then my between centers for these two, I'm gonna put in, and that's 2.165. Okay, so I've got those guys. That's solid. So that's gonna be that. But then you may be thinking, well, you still have to, well, actually, let me say it this way. You'll notice that they're blue. These are blue lines. The circles are blue. The construction lines are blue. Well, that's because I've dimensioned them or I've constrained these in a lot of most directions, except for this direction. I need to know where they fall this way, and so how I can do that, I can come in here and do a make hidden edges visible. So then now what that's going to show me is that's going to show me this line, or sorry, this cutout here. Well, I definitely need it to fall above that cutout because that's the whole point of it. So if I come back, and I should be able to grab that line there, and this line. Okay, this is a great example of the intelligence being it's an auto intelligence, there's intelligence built into this dimension tool. And so you see how it's kind of going above, and it's getting that 254. Well, it's going above my center line. Well, sometimes when people use center line, it's because they want to use it in a radius or a diameter, maybe doing a sweep of a circle. So what it's assuming is like, hey, you've used a center line here. There's a possibility that you're trying to sweep a circle. So instead of putting the putting in a radius dimension, you can just put in your diameter dimension, and it's a lot easier for you, which is true. But I don't need that right now. I need just that one dimension like this. If I just come down and drag it, I'm not dragging anything. I'm just bringing it down here. It auto corrects. So anyway, that's a fun little tidbit there. Let me figure out my dimension here real quick. Looks like I got a little foot here that I got to be careful of. So that's 33 thousandths. So you can't see my calculator, but it's okay. And that is 87 thousandths. Plus 0.087 plus 0.087. And then I need to then take half the diameter, so plus 0.065. So 180, 182, so 182. Sorry, I know this makes the video longer, but I'm trying to draw something for real here and not just do a little demo. It's two birds, one stone. That should be good. Alright. So 187 thousandths is what I need that to be right there. So 0.18, or 182. Right. So that's going to be dimensionally accurate, dimensionally what I need. So now you can see I've got those lines turn black. And so then I can come in here and hit extrude again. But in this time, it's going to auto do an extrude out, but I want to do remove. And then that's currently set to blind, which means that it's going to go a specific distance, not a, yeah, it's going to go just a specific distance. And so now what I'll do is I'll just hit through all. That's going to basically put it through all the faces of that part. So there you go. And you see I've got those hidden lines still selected. I'm just going to put those back to removed. Alright, cool. So that's a step in the right direction here for us. And then something that I'm just going to go ahead and do now before I forget about it is I'm going to look at this face and I want to create an extrude cut. I need this to not be a channel all the way down because my part doesn't channel all the way down. I need to have a cut out there. So I'm going to come in here and grab this guy right quick. Into a dimension. And then that dimension was 5.425 minus 3.75. So that should be 1.675. And then I can actually do the hidden line trick again. I may have done that too early. Just to keep everything relationally together. I could throw a dimension on there since I know that dimension, but just to keep things relationally together, so I don't have to fix something later on, I can just basically add that coincidence, and now that line, my new line that I'm putting in this cutout will always be tagged to that cutout line already that's already there. So that way, if I ever need to adjust this profile, then I will automatically adjust this profile so I don't have to do it in the future. So little tips and tricks sort of thing there. So I'm going to do another remove through all. Good to go. Alright. So that's the basic outline of what I'm trying to make. Let's see. I have not yet done a good, I did not grab the dimensions for these bottom holes that I need to put in, so I'll not waste the video time doing that. But what I will do is just to kind of show you how it looks to export real quick, just in the sense that I'm going to, maybe I want to go ahead 3D print, maybe my design's already done, which it's not, but if it was, things that I like to do is I like to throw little radiuses on or little fillets here. Cleans the design up a little bit. And then also sharp edges sometimes aren't fun, just in general. So we can put a 0.625 here. Kind of takes all the sharp edges. Another thing, I always throw them on the bottom too. Helps with, at least in my printer, helps with elephant footing. It's not critical that in this part that I have straight edges, so that elephant foot can happen, and then you get that's not good, or at least in the part specifically. So these little radiuses basically help with controlling that just a little bit. I can't put that there. I don't want that there. I'll put it there. It's fine. I think it'll be fine. I know I need to keep that straight walled for my printing purposes, or for the part to fit in there correctly. It doesn't have a radius, so I want that to be straight. I can do that. It doesn't like that. It's not thick enough. Okay, I get it. I don't want it there either. Okay. So we got that good. All right, so that's good. A good radius part kind of looks a little bit cleaner now. A little bit more of a finished design rather than the blocks, just the blocky shape. It really kind of helps make the design better as a whole because you're not as sharp on your edges, and people it'll feel better in your hand, sort of thing. I could have thrown one there too. Go ahead and do that real quick. I can just add a quick one there. It'll it'll add that to it. It created another fillet, but well, let's be purist here. Cool. All right, cool. So that's basic level of my design where I currently am at. So yeah, like I said, I'll show you how to export it. So there's two ways to export. Well, there's a lot of ways to export actually, but right now I only have this one part in this. So my assembly, I'm done. I don't have an assembly. I could throw this in the assembly. You can do a lot of fun things. I can insert the part, and so that I can make a whole assembly with this. And if I had the other components drawn up that I'm working with, then I could bring them in here. And I could test fit everything and so on and so forth. But I don't need to worry about that right now. What I want is I just want just this part. So I can rename this part here, which actually is not a bad thing to do. So I'm going to call this the rotary riser. And what you'll notice here is if I call that the rotary riser there, it'll actually rename it in my assembly too. So just fun thing. But let's just say I had multiple parts, and you can draw multiple parts inside of a part studio. You can draw multiple parts, and you could end up with multiple parts coming down here that's associated with this one specific thing. So that's why they have this area here. I.e., if I wanted to draw, I don't know, I don't have a good example off the top of my head, but if I drew, but I don't know why you would do this, but if you want to, I don't have a good reason for it off the top of my head, but if I just selected this plane and drew this cylinder, but I don't attach it to my main part, or the first part I drew. I shouldn't say main part, but the first part I drew, and then I just basically create an extrude of that. What you'll see is that created a whole nother part. Now, in my assembly, I only have that one part because of how I inserted it. I inserted it as I selected just the rotary riser, but if I selected Part Studio, see how it brought both of those in there. Now I don't think anyway. Oh look, I can modify that. Let's do this. This is somewhat of a learning experience here. Now does that move it over here? Huh. No, it doesn't. I guess it's just dealer's choice on how you want to draw stuff, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why specifically you would do some of the things. They just give you some options, I guess. But anyway, all that to say is that when you create a whole nother body, if you will, a whole nother body is going to show up as a separate part here. Whereas if I were to come in here and just do the same thing and create just a sketch, but I want to create it straight off that face, you can see that that's going to, that's coming into that's merging with the scope of my rotary riser. Well, if I don't want it to, if I want it to just be a whole nother part for whatever reason, I can hit new, and then that's going to create a part 3. Once again, not really there's no good reason that I have for doing it. I'm just saying there's options out there. Okay, back to exporting. Export. I'm going to come in here. If this was me doing this at home, which I will be doing once I get other dimensions worked out and get this completely done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to hit export, and then I'm going to select. I know I want it to be in millimeter. I want it to just stay in fine resolution because that's going to go ahead and break that model down pretty well. If I did in any other resolution, then it could affect how the print quality, or it's basically giving the best opportunity to your slicer to then cut that model and make it what you want it. So anyway, and then it's going to go ahead and put a name on it. It's going to say part one or part Studio 1 because of what this is called. We could have called this riser, and then it would have said riser, rotary riser. I mean, that's just how, that's where it's drawn from. So I'm just going to export that. And then you can see I've got the STL up here. For me, I could throw that. I use, obviously, I've got my bamboo printer. I'm going to put that in there. And then I could select the color, which I actually don't have black anymore, but I need to update that. Then I could slice it. And bippity boppity. Got it. Oh, you can't see any of this because, my bad. The way I'm sharing recording. Anyway. Yeah. So that's just some basic ways of making the making stuff in Onshape. So hope it helps.